doing? Hey everybody, it's Yasmin here. I'm going to leave my glasses on actually. I've just realised I don't have my cards here. Oh, you know what I do have? I have the Spirit Junkie cards that I was sent by Hay House. So let's use those today. Now, it's a big day for me. How are you doing? Let me know in the comments. Where are you and how are you feeling? Let me tell you why it's a big day for me. Because after, I would say, months and months and months of work, today we are going live with our Working with the Magic of the Moon webinar series, and it's free. Have you signed up for it yet? Please do. It's free and it starts today. So if you don't sign up today, you're at risk of missing out. A lot of people have written to me and said, I want to do the Working with the Magic of the Moon webinar. I can't make the lives. Can I do the replay? And the answer is yes, you can. But you only have 24 hours to make the replay. Okay, because then the next one will go up. So there's 3 sessions. I'm just grabbing my diary because I want to quickly check something. There's 3 webinars, okay? They're 100% free. The minute you sign up, you get a video all about the upcoming new moon eclipse in Sagittarius. Plus, you get something that I think is almost even more useful, which is what we've called the Creative Visualization New Moon Meditation. And we've called it that because that's what it is. So basically what I'm trying to teach everyone in my own special way is how to use your powers. And I had an email from someone this morning, which actually not an email, a message on Facebook. And I actually copied and pasted it because, you know, she was just a regular person like you or me, saying about how her life has changed since she started working with the moon. And honestly, if I had $1 for every single person that wrote to me and said that, I would have thousands of dollars. It's so hard to explain because on the one hand, I feel like I'm trying to convince you of something, you know. On the other hand, this stuff really works. And I'm doing a thing for work, and I don't want to go into it because it's not work really, it's kind of work related. And I had to basically write up about the whole trajectory of my career. And I had to do it last night between about the hours of midnight and 3 a.m. It was for something in Australia and I had to do it. And, you know, what amazed me was looking back over when I first started working with the moon, which was probably in the mid-1990s. And I'm just going to give you a really potted version, not because I so much want to tell you my story, but because I want you to see how this can become your story. So essentially, it started off with me hitting rock bottom after an extremely bad breakup with someone who was basically abusive to me in many different subtle ways, and breaking free of that. And getting back or learning to meditate. Actually, I think learning to meditate. I don't think I'd learned to meditate. I think if I'd learned to meditate before that, things would have been quite different. Learning to meditate. Now, when you learn to meditate, if you haven't done it yet, it basically starts to open up all your chakras. So, you know, it's an amazing thing. And I'm just going to say it. I even think it makes sex better. You know, like you open up yourself, body, mind, and spirit. Body, mind, and spirit. And it changes your whole life. You become a different person when you start to meditate on a daily basis. And I learned how to meditate. So that it was definitely after the breakup, because actually I'd gone back to England in the meantime and gone back to Australia, and then I learned to meditate. And that really changed my life and also introduced me to astrology. And then at some point along my path in astrology, I think after I'd been studying it for about 2 years and still meditating every day, I really hooked into the moon. And that was literally what changed everything. I actually think I've got the order of things here wrong. I'm sorry, I didn't even know what I was going to say when I sat down today. But what I'm trying to say is that I got myself from the lowest of the low to where I am now in my little house in London with my beloved family. And I was pretty bad. When I was bad, I was pretty bad. And I literally used astrology, but also really specifically moonology to get myself back on track. And as you might know, moonology is a word I invented. And the moment I invented it, it felt like a turning point in my life. The first time I ever said it. And I believe that I'm here today to teach you how to do it. That's what I truly believe that. I truly believe that that's my life purpose. I believe that I was a journalist, so I learned how to write properly. I believe that I was a TV producer, so I learned how to edit. Because what do you need these days in business? You need to be able to write and you need to be able to edit. You know? My lovely friend Rebecca Campbell, who wrote Light is the New Black and Rise Sister Rise, you know, she believes that she worked in advertising so she could get the skills that she needs now to run her business. You know, it's like the divine put me through all these things. And I even believe that hitting rock bottom was a part of my journey because it made me turn to spirit and turn to the moon. So how do you use the moon? You use the moon by getting in touch with the monthly lunar cycle. It's really that simple. Now, there are things to learn. You know, you want to make your wishes at new moon and you want to do your release work at full moon. And I think the release work is actually as important as the wishing work. And that's something I go into in all my books everywhere you read. I also think that you can attract abundance by connecting with the moon. Now, why does that work? Because when you open up to spirit and when you open up to your divine purpose, you will start to do things differently. I used to be a journalist, you know, and I'll tell you what happened. And those of you in England will especially understand this. Because I was freelance and I was going back between London and Sydney, and it was very hard to get any kind of rhythm going because when you're freelance, you really need to have, it's kind of like a snowball that gets bigger and bigger the more you freelance, and as soon as you leave, it kind of falls apart. So I found myself in London kind of ringing up everyone going, hi, I'm back, got any work for me? Hi, I'm back, got any work for me? And I got this story offered to me of Daniela Westbrook, the girl who used to be on a show here called EastEnders, who snorted so much cocaine that this bit of her nose, which I can never remember what it's called, fell out. And anyway, she kind of put her life back together. And I was commissioned by a magazine, which I'll just allow to remain nameless, to go and interview her. And I was quite good at celebrity interviews. I did a lot of celebrity interviews. And so they said, go off and do Daniela Westbrook. And I was thinking, okay, well, that sounds good. Like, it's a bit of a triumph over tragedy story, what's happened. She's been through cocaine addiction. Her nose, her thing has fallen out. Is it a speculum or I don't know. Anyway, it had fallen out. So she just had like a big single nostril. And I was like, okay, you know, triumph over tragedy, which is a common theme in magazines. And they were like, oh, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, no, go there. You go there and you stitch her up, which basically means, you know, make her look like a complete fool. And, you know, if ever you've worked for yourself, thank you, Chrissy, it's a septum. If ever you've worked for yourself, you know, you can't just say no to work willy-nilly. And this was a really good magazine. And I just thought, oh my God, like that is just not me. I became a journalist because I love to write. And for me, it was a way to get paid for writing. And I put the phone down And I thought long and hard about it for about 2 or 3 hours. And I thought, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. That is not me. That is not why I'm a writer. I can't do it. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to tell them. So I rang them up. I rang the guy up. It was the commissioning editor was a guy on this magazine. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to go and do that to Daniela Westbrook. I'm just not. I'm sorry, but no. Bang. And, you know, that's pretty much a death knell in a magazine. Anyway, and I knew that doing that, I knew on one level, because I'd been meditating for a few years by now, I was getting into on the spiritual path. And I knew on one level that I was closing that door so a better door would open, okay? But I remember thinking at the time, well, I hope that bloody door opens up soon enough or I won't be able to pay my bills, because, you know, that was my livelihood, was writing, and I just basically, you know, closed off one source of revenue. And I remember thinking, you know, even a few weeks after, nothing had sort of magically appeared. I was hoping some kind of magic thing would happen, like, yes, you know, you turned down stitching up Daniela Westbrook and now here's your gift from the universe. And of course, you know, it didn't happen, but it was a really subtle thing. And in fact, what happened was I ended up getting more and more spiritual articles. I ended up writing more and more spiritual articles for lots of magazines, probably even for that magazine actually, but also for lots of other magazines, you know, that you all would have heard of, all the big magazines in England and Australia, like, you know, New Idea and Women's Day and all the really mass market things, New Woman, all those sorts of magazines. And effectively what happened was my whole career transformed. And it was that point that I started to write about spiritual matters in general and the moon in particular. And I can tell you that in my first year of meditating, I remember my income quadrupled, okay? But my income has probably 10x'd since then, okay? And I'm not saying it's all about money, but what I'm saying is I'm no longer, you know, worried about where my next dollar's coming from. And, you know, abundance is not about money only, but it is partly about money. People who say that money doesn't matter have never had money worries, you know? And my career changed, but it's not just the money, obviously. It's the absolute amazing thing that I get to do something I love. I mean, here I am right now telling you this story, and, you know, I feel like I do it for love, but at the end of the day, it's also part of my job. You know, why have I worked so hard over the past few weeks, even though I've been sick? Because I wanted to do my job properly. You know, and it's a privilege to get to be able to do things that you love to do. Okay, it really, really is. And so many doors opened up for me when I decided to follow my highest intentions. I'm just reading there, Tracy saying being true to yourself paid off. Yes, it literally paid off. So if you're out there and you've got money worries, okay, look at what you can possibly do so that you can do something which is more in alignment with who you really are, you know? And look what you can do, even what you can do that's unpaid, that's really in alignment with who you are, because that could end up being what leads you somewhere, you know? And especially now with, you know, everything we've all been through in the last 9-10 months, and here is the first day that the first person's got a vaccination. Hope she's okay. Hope she's now immune. You know, look at what this period has taught you about how you earn your money, how your relationship with abundance, you know, and how you feel about what you do. And one thing to mention to you, and it's something I learned from Doreen Virtue, and I will always be grateful to her for this, you know, because on the spiritual path, you know, we all know that money doesn't buy happiness. We know that, you know, just because you got money does not mean you're going to be happy or healthy or have people in your life that you love. It does not buy happiness, okay? But it does buy holidays, you know. It does buy time with your family, you know. There are certain things about it that are really, really helpful. It allows you to help other people, you know. Every time I can pay my bills, I thank the universe. Every time I can give money to charity, I thank the universe. But what Doreen Virtue taught me was this. You have to know your own self-worth. You have to know your own worth. Because otherwise, you're never going to charge for what you do. So when I first started to meditate, at the same time, I actually also did a course in chakras, which I paid for at great expense. I went from Sydney. I flew to Europe. I mean, I would have probably come to London anyway, but I had to get to Switzerland, up into a taxi, up into the mountains to this kind of chalet where about 20 of us did this really amazing chakra course. It was very random. And it, again, opened me up. And then I went back to Sydney, you know, after I'd probably been to London for a summer or whatever, hanging out with my friends here. And I went back to Sydney and I wanted to start doing people's chakras. But I just didn't feel I could charge for it. I hadn't made that leap yet. And that was when I was still a journalist. So I was starting to sort of move into that. And I remember really struggling with how can I charge people for this. And as a result, I didn't get any clients or any customers. The only people whose chakras I ever did back in those days were people I did for free. Because I couldn't charge for it. And this is what Doreen Virtue taught me. She taught me, if you don't charge for what you do, then you're not going to be able to do it very much, you know? Because if I always think of, you know, I don't know why, I always think of someone who works in a post office when I talk about this. But just imagine that you are a Reiki healer. Okay, just imagine you are a Reiki healer, or you teach meditation, or, you know, you're an astrologer and you help people with their life purpose and all that. Now, just say you don't charge for your services. What's going to happen? Well, for one thing, you're going to be tired because you're going to be working, say you're working in a post office 9 to 5, okay? So you're working 9 to 5 every day, Monday to Friday, you know, maybe Saturday mornings. What are you at the end of the week? Tired. How keen are you to go off and give someone a free healing session? Maybe a bit. Maybe you're smart enough to know that you give a healing and you get a healing. But you know, you're going to be tired. Or just say you want to write a spiritual book that's going to change the world or help people and help change people's lives. Get home after your hard day at the post office, put the groceries on the counter, give the kids a cup of hot chocolate. Oh, what do you want to do? You want to go sit on the couch and relax. You don't really want to go and sit and write your book. Now, some people do manage it. But what I'm trying to, and maybe when you first start, you need another job. But eventually, if you seriously try to make it your everything, you have to get paid for it. You just have to get paid for it. And there is nothing wrong with being paid to do what you do, especially if you're helping the world, you know. And I strongly believe that in the next 10 to 20 years, definitely in our lifetime, we're going to see more and more people being handsomely paid for spiritual work because people are going to start to realize the value of it. And at this point, I always mention my friend Laura Day, who is a New Yorker, who they call the psychic of New York, the psychic of Wall Street. And she gets paid thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to go into companies for like an hour a month and just tell them what's happening with the market, because she reads energy and she reads the markets. And I think in the future, it's going to be just as common to work in the post office as it is to be an empath or to work out what's going on. You know, if someone comes to you because they've been unfairly treated at work or whatever, you know. It's happening. I'm telling you, it's happening. You can be abundant doing something which is aligned with your soul purpose. And that's what we all have to aim for, and that's what we all have to support each other in. Okay, that's my opinion. And the reason why I got into this riff today was because of the first video in my latest work project, but it's there to help you. That's the amazing thing. Like when I was working on this free webinar series, you know, I would just do all this stuff from my heart. It doesn't feel like I'm working because it's from my heart. So anyway, it's all about how to follow the moon to abundance, how to use the moon to help you get in touch with your self-worth, and how to use it to become more abundant. Just reading your comments. Clara, classic. I'm a hairstylist and I haven't charged enough for years. Too much fear blocking my self-worth. That's the whole problem. It's about self-worth. Now, my webinar series today is free. It starts at, I think, midday Pacific, 8 p.m. UK time. The link to sign up is above. The only reason I can do it for free is because I charge for my other services. You know, every now and then someone will write to me and go, oh, you're just always charging money. It's like, well, I do write free daily horoscopes. I do free Facebook Lives because I love doing them. I love doing them. I love seeing all your comments. You know, I do free e-reports, free webinars, free this, free that. You know, someone was like, oh, you have to buy your diary to go to your workshop. It's like, yeah, okay. But at the end of the day, I do have to charge for things sometimes. And I don't have a problem with that because I have reasonable self-worth. So work on your self-worth. And if you have issues with abundance, do the free workshop. And hopefully you'll learn something about how to use the moon to create abundance in your life. It starts today and the link is up there. And I hope it helps you. I mean, I honestly think if everybody started to do all this kind of stuff, I mean, I don't think, I know. People's lives change. They just change. Full stop, they change. All right, let's take a card. Miss Mel says, Yasmin, you are so worth it. Thank you. I mean, the thing is, you know, I'm not gonna fudge it. One of the reasons why I'm okay doing stuff like this is because of your beautiful comments, you know? Because I get so much feedback. When I was a journalist, it was really difficult because, you know, and when I wrote my first book, which was a novel, which came out with Penguin, it's called Carole King as an Alien. When I was first doing that, you know, I was at my computer all by myself. Now I have all of you guys, you know, cheering me on, saying, yes, you're helping me, keep going. Yes, you're helping me, keep going. Like there's nothing more that I need than to know I'm helping people. But again, it comes down to the fact that some of the stuff I do is paid for, you know, because otherwise I couldn't do it. Like I could not be a full-time journalist and then, you know, apart from I wouldn't have the time to do this because I'd be in an office somewhere, I couldn't do all this stuff. Joan is saying, what time is the webinar on in Melbourne, Australia? I'm not sure. I think it's a bad time for Australia, and I did actually talk to Hay House and say, are you sure you can't make it a bit more Australia friendly? And because they're mainly American, they're like, look, you know, this time around we do it differently every time, but this time we've got to make it American time. But you can watch the replay for 23 hours afterwards, and then the next one's going to come up, which is going to be all about the techniques that I actually use with moon manifesting, a whole lot of techniques. And as I said, as soon as you sign up, you'll get a free meditation, a new moon, create a visualization meditation, and a little video about the upcoming eclipse. All right, so don't, you know, just sign up for it. If it's an ungodly hour where you are, just watch the replay. Thank you. You're telling me you appreciate me. Someone's saying, I'm glad you found your path. I'm still looking for my path. Keep looking. Keep meditating. Meditation changes everything. And that's why we're doing the chanting every day still. We do it on Zoom. It's free. And, you know, again, like, I can do that for free because I get paid for doing other things. Thank you, Sally. Everyone's giving such nice comments. Annette says her cup was empty and she feels better now. That's good. All right. You're all amazing. I'm really lucky that I was raised in a loving environment and I didn't have that much work to do to feel worth it. I mean, I had troubles at school. I had one girl who was really mean to me, who wrote a little secret book about me because my family were from Europe, Malta and England/Ireland basically, and you know, we ate things like mortadella and salami, and they wrote, she eats mortadella and salami. But the best one was, her father's a psychiatrist, my dad was a psychiatrist, and she used to live in a mental hospital, which was actually quite true. But that was kind of the hardest stuff that I had to get through, and then I kind of got through that probably by grade 9 or 10. By the time I was in grade 11, which is probably the equivalent of A-level, first year of A-levels, you know, I felt okay about myself. And, you know, and I know a lot of people have a lot of SHIT to get through before they can start to feel good about themselves, and then they can work on their self-esteem. Because it's all about self-esteem and self-worth, you know, self-esteem and self-worth. So, you know, if you think you want to make next year the year of abundance, make next year the year of working on your self-worth, because that's what you actually need to do. You need to increase your self-worth, you know, and you need to feel that you're doing what you're meant to be doing. It's like me turning down the Daniela Westbrook article. So there you go. Okie dokie. Here we go. We've got a lovely card. Got a lovely card. Kindness is a gift I bestow upon the world. Kindness is a gift I bestow upon the world. Yep. So that's a nice message from Gabby Bernstein's deck. Oh, my kindness is a gift I bestow upon the world. So if you want the key to being abundant, it's self-worth. If you want a little bit more information, do my free webinar, because that's what I did. I followed the moon from where I was. I was broke. I basically had no friends left because I'd alienated everyone because I was going out with this maniac. I had no money because I was so wrapped up in this toxic relationship. I hadn't worked properly. It was a nightmare, and I can't even talk about what happened within the relationship because it was honestly so toxic. It's just disgusting to discuss. And I got rid of him one amazing day with the help of a friend. And I used meditation, chanting, astrology, and more than anything else, I used the moon. And I'm just going to finish by telling you this, how I used the moon, just really in a nutshell, so you can start to understand how this can apply to your life. I literally started to, what I actually did was I started to write a daily newsletter in on Yahoo groups. Do you remember Yahoo groups? They're actually closing down now. I had an email the other day. It was 2002. I was looking at this last night when I was writing this thing. And I started every morning, because I'm just a communicator. I've got Venus and Mars in Gemini. I love to communicate. So I did it for a list. Again, it wasn't for paid, wasn't being paid. I did it because it helped me. Just like I do these, well, I especially do the chanting because that helps me when we do it on Zoom together. And these even help me. They really do, because they get me dressed, you know. Anyone who saw me on chanting knows that half an hour ago I was in looking a complete wreck. And they get me out of bed. They help me. So I do it for myself, but I do it for other people because I know it helps them. Anyway, I started writing these daily moon messages. And first of all, I had like 3 people on the list. I don't even remember how I got there, maybe friends. And every day I would look at the moon. Like if you've got my diary, you can see it's every day. You can see where the moon is in and what phase it's in. So today the moon is in Virgo. That's my diary for those of you who don't know. See, this is one of my paid things. Do the free stuff and I do diaries. So that's my diary for this year. And the next one is Selling Fast. So if you want to get it, get it. And I would look at the moon, I would see what was happening. And I started doing these daily moon messages in 2002. And I started doing them and I had 2 people, then I had 5 people, then I had 50 people on the list, and then it started to be people I didn't know, and 100 people on the list, and 1,000 people on the list. And eventually we had about 8,000 people on the list, and then I stopped doing them. I don't really remember why I stopped doing them. Is it because... I really don't know, actually. I did them for quite a few years. Maybe it was because of the advent of social media. Someone's saying, what are you selling? Well, I sell books, really, I suppose, is what I sell. My diary, my Moonology book. I mean, all I'm doing in these books is I'm telling you how to do what I did because I know it works. My cards. So there you go. That's basically the story. Going to leave it there. Tracy, I remember my friend sending me your emails in 2008. Oh, there you go. You've been there all along and you've seen it all evolve. Lots of people write to me and say, I've been, watching you since years and years and years, and I'm so pleased to see the way it's all gone. Honestly, I did it with the help of the moon. How do you feel about tarot readers using your Moonology cards to create their own abundance? Completely fine. I feel good about it. I want to help everybody be happy and be abundant. Just wanted to say I'm proud of you for getting out of your low point. I didn't realize that's where you started. No, well, I haven't. I probably started talking about that about a year ago. I decided, you know what? I don't mind. I'm going to talk about it. All right, sign up please for the free workshop. Get your abundance free, 3 videos, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Mwah. Thanks for listening.